come vape with me. If you're coming with me on this journey of vaping, a lot of you might have already reached the stage where you also have used egos and tanks, and you are moving on and getting more into it and becoming interested in having a mod. For a long time, I've had a mod. I've had a precise T, and I roll my own atomizers and I mix my own e-liquid. And that whole aspect of vaping is totally fascinating. So I thought I've always stuck to vaping for beginners, really. So I might do a few movies in the future that are on mods. This I've had for a very long time now. This is a precise T made in America, bought in the UK, and it's a mechanical mod. So on it there is nothing at all that is electronic. It was my doomsday device. I decided I needed something if all the others were taken off the market, that I could go plodding on vaping, because nobody is taking vaping away from me. I shall carry on doing it. And a mechanical device means it's very simple. It's simply like a torch. It is a tube with a battery in it. And so this one has an 18500 battery in it, and that lasts me all day. There's the battery, and that I simply recharge at night or the next morning. I do have two of these so that I can recharge one while using a new other one. The whole thing is beautifully machined. It screws on the top and the bottom beautifully. Satin smooth. This is a satin finish. It has a rim or a different metal at the top, which I think is quite elegant, and it has a different look to the metal, stainless steel, at the bottom. But the thing that drives me absolutely crazy is the locking system, which happens at the bottom here. And the new ones, which are the simple, precise mods, have a different locking system. So maybe people complained about this one. But I'll show you what drives me crazy. You have to line up this exactly to the channel before it clicks over. And it's mechanical. So let me see if I can do it now. I push, and this makes that little bar inside it, I don't know if you can see it, stick out. So there's no way you can depress that, because there it is, mechanically locked. To unlock it, I have to push it back so that it's flush, and then when I depress it, it goes up, and the little screw inside the bottom touches the battery. It has a very simple what do you call this, spring. That is the screw that actually generates the connection to the battery, and the spring gives it the give. Now, the way these actually connect is so easy and lovely and satin smooth to screw in or take apart. So in order to make it work, I depress this device at the bottom, and it connects that screw that I showed you with the battery, which then sends the power to the atomizer. This precise T drives me nuts sometimes. Occasionally it will misfire. Not because of anything mechanical in it, but because I haven't actually got my finger in the right place to depress it up into the tube. If I stand this, it does not fire, because it's so precisely, that's not a pun, designed that you can stand it on a table without firing the atomizer. However, if I stand it sideways in the cup section in the car, I find occasionally it will depress it in and I can hear the anti-firing like you can now. This is sometimes like a naughty child. It drives me crazy, but I use it because the actual voltage coming out of here is 4 volts, 4.1 actually, and that's what I like to vape at, and you get such an excellent flavor and vape from your tanks and from your e-liquid, and the mechanism of putting it all together is really smooth and easy to do, even with my funny hand. So I have this funny hand, which makes it very difficult for me to demonstrate anything on a video. And it's the one thing that's holding me back from talking about winding your own atomizers or mods, because you usually have to screw things in or add things or click buttons and alter things. And that makes it rather difficult for me to demonstrate on a video. However, I'm going to attempt it. That had a tank on it. This is an ego adapter because the Precise T comes with a flat top. That's a 510 connection, but it will not connect to a tank system that uses that kind of bottom on it. That is specially designed for an ego. So to get around that, I put an ego connection, which in truth changes that to be an ego battery. And then I can fit the tanks that I want to on it, because mostly I use tanks. In fact, I only use tanks. Or I use a dripping atomizer. So now I'm putting on a plinth. A plinth is a little device that you can add to your batteries to make things look good. And today is Pink Day. You'll see I'm using a pink dripping atomizer. This comes from Totally Wicked, and I have put a metal drip tip in there because I think that looks nice having the silver and the pink. And there's my plinth, which makes it all flow in and look very nice on my Precise T. So it's reasonably heavy. It's much heavier than an ego battery, but you really do get used to it. So I'm depressing the bottom to make the atomizer work in this dripping atomizer. And that's absolutely yummy. That is from my little bottle of Vamp Vape from Tea Juice. And so I go with my dripping atomizer and my little bottle, which just pops in my bag quite easily, and I put a few drops in the top. So this is not a tank. It does not contain e-liquid. I simply drip from my little bottle a few drops onto the atomizer in here, the wick and the atomizer, and then it's ready to vape. Occasionally I can overfill this, and then of course it floods it, so you don't get a good vape. But the solution to that is to twist a tissue and drip and push it in so that it absorbs the extra e-liquid that you might have accidentally dripped in too much. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm dripping on my dripping atomizer, which is pink today. So that is my Precise T, which I use all the time. And the battery lasts me the whole day, and I'm quite used to the heavier feel. I don't actually take it out with me. I take smaller devices out with me because they fit better in my handbag, and I don't have to pop around with this wretched lock at the bottom. That's the only thing that drives me crazy with this, and the fact that occasionally I don't actually get my finger in the right place and I have what you'd call a misfire. But of course, that's my fault. I don't demonstrate mods or winding atomizers or mixing my own e-liquid, all of which I do because I have this hand that is not conducive to demonstrating. Whenever I do something, it's sort of hit and miss. And actually, if I can wind my own atomizers and test them, of course, on a meter, which is something you really must do in case you've wound something that's really too low resistance or too high resistance, then um, anybody can do that. If I can do it, anybody can do it because I've got funny hands. I have just received this most exciting thing. It's this. I'm not telling you what it is, but it reminds me very much of a Pravari. But it isn't a Pravari. It's a surprise. So I think in the future, shortly, we'll be talking about mods. So thanks for vaping with me.